All right. All the beef is in the barn, I think, right?
All right.
Yes.
Shall we get after it?
Go, Gogs.
Welcome to
Go,
Movie
go,
the
go,
Podcast.
go, go, go.
Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right. Movie the Podcast. Special off-brand birthday pick. Alex birthday pick. Jupiter Ascending, a movie that asks and answers the question, can a movie be autistic? We're going to find out about it tonight.
Jesus Christ. Coming in hot.
This movie is a thing that we all witnessed.
Shocking lack of trains for that joke to work, but still.
Well, space trains.
It does have dinosaurs, though.
It does.
It's got cathedrals in space under a mountain of hurricanes.
Yeah.
It's no Q the Winged Serpent. But
It's no Q the Winged Serpent.
Oh, that fucking movie.
We should revisit that.
No,
We shouldn't.
no.
Nobody should visit or revisit that.
I'm good.
If we could go back in time and not watch that, I'd be fine.
Yeah. Like, you finally get the time machine. It's like, you could go back and kill Hitler or not watch Q the Winged Serpent.
It's the meme of that guy with the button.
Yeah.
Our podcast would have like 9 episodes. They only made 9 episodes in 6 years.
I saw one of those time machine what if jokes, and it was like women with a time machine, and the girl was going back to murder Henry Ford, and then the guy was talking to an Egyptian, and he's like, the Egyptian guy's like, wow, this Bass Pro Shop must be a mighty god.
My favorite was Men with a Time Machine, and it's like, hey, John Hinckley, Jodie Foster says real men use high caliber weapons. It's like, Jodie said that?
Yeah, that was a good one. All right. We watched Jupiter Ascending. I cannot wait to talk about it. This is going to be like, this is going to be like Smash Brothers Melee here. It's going to be wild. But anyway, before we get to the fireworks, what did you all watch this week? And I started off with the birthday boy. You can't see it, but he's got one of those little birthday hats. He's got one of those little birthday kazoos. He's got his birthday kaboom in front of him. Alec, what did you watch this week? Or banana kaboom, excuse me.
He's barely touched it.
I watched
yes, sir.
4 movies.
Oh my God.
This week.
Go.
First, last night we rewatched the newly available on Disney Plus joint, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Hell yeah.
Which I've seen before.
Yes,
but
I saw it with you.
That doesn't stop it from absolutely slapping.
Yeah, it's real good.
It's awesome, and the sadness does not diminish the second time you watch it. It's still real sad. And I thank Ra.
The Egyptian god?
The sun god?
The Egyptian sun god, that they didn't kill the villain in this.
Yeah, thank you.
So he can come back, because he is maybe the best villain they've had so far. He's so fucking good.
Yeah, well, he's actually, like, layered and is a character. And, like, you know what I mean? It's nice to have, like, name fucking rules in the movie. He's very good.
And he's like, I forget where I read it. It was something on TikTok, I'm sure.
Ironic if it was on Reddit.
It was not. Nothing on Reddit is coherent enough.
That is true.
to be like this. But a lot of the best Marvel villains make really good points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And but then they have him do something fucking crazy where it's like, oh, well, I can't cheer for him.
Yeah, like Smashers.
Like Killmonger.
Yeah.
Or like Magneto.
Everything Killmonger did made sense.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of based.
But then they have him go nuts and shoot his girlfriend for no reason. It's like, oh, well, I can't like this guy. He just killed his boo because she got arrested or something.
Yeah.
This is called operational security, sir.
I mean, even Thanos in a weird way.
Thanos kind of based.
Even Thanos, I mean, obviously his, methodology is wrong, but,
Gogs, we just found out, is a fucking proponent of Karl Malthus.
Oh, that's right. Anyway.
This is another example of that, and I don't think it's an accident that 2 of the best villains they've had were both in Ryan Coogler movies.
Yep.
Because that guy is fucking tremendous.
Yeah, he rocks.
He is excellent. Watched, I think it was a Netflix original from a couple of years ago. Gogs had watched The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh yeah, the animated
which,
fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I didn't realize that it was like Lord and Miller and had such a weird animation style. It's so goddamn good. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Got a wholesome Danny McBride in that movie.
Yeah, he's just like a nature-loving dad who doesn't understand technology and wants his kids to want to go camping with him.
It's sweet.
But it's really good, and the animation is phenomenal, and it's they do wacky shit, just like in Spider-Verse. Like, it's really good. It's really well done.
I need to watch it. I forgot all about it ever since. I mean, I remember Gogs talking about it now, but I totally forgot about it. That's the problem with a lot of the Netflix originals. Like, once they're not the new thing, it's just like,
yeah, they're done. They're they're like out of sight, out of mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But Danny McBride and Maya Rudolph play the parents. Abby Jacobson plays the sister. I think Eric Andre is like a Mark Zuckerberg-esque tech billionaire.
He's like every tech billionaire conglomerized into one person.
I think his name is actually Mark in the movie too.
Yeah.
Not Zuckerberg, but Mark. But that was fun. Movie that's not fun, but I enjoyed last year's Best Picture winner, Coda, which I forgot about until TJ mentioned it the other day.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I liked it.
Good. It was good.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was really really well done. I was a fan of it. I mean, I don't know if it would have cracked my list last year.
Yeah, it was a solid movie. It was definitely an upgrade from like fucking Green Book the year before. Like, it was actually a movie I watched and I was like, yeah, that was good. But I only remembered Coda because of those fucking Timothy Chalamet Apple commercials. So they're helping themselves by with their promotion. It's like, oh yeah, that movie.
Yeah, Apple has like the lowest market share of all the streamies, but also they have like everything locked down on password sharing because.
Oh, is that, yeah? Well, they always did.
I mean, nobody's going to share their Apple IDs. Like, and everything to get you can get access to Apple TV and also My Wallet and everything.
Yeah,
if you have all that shit set up.
It's one thing I actually like now that I have two iPads now. Like, I always get when I go back to it, I'm like, oh yeah, everything's connected to that one fucking account. It's like I find it very annoying, but I understand why they do it.
I don't, because I have an iPhone too, so it's very nice and convenient. Because when we have the iPads and we each have our iPhones and all that shit, like it's also terrifying sometimes.
Sure, yeah.
The way it tells you before you're doing things. Like when I get in my car, it like automatically sets my map for home from work.
Oh yeah,
right, yeah.
Like,
they know. Yeah,
it's like you'll be home in 42 minutes. Like, well, shit, yeah, I will.
That's what you think, bitch.
Not no more.
I'm going to the golf course. Fuck you.
What was the last thing I watched? I watched Four Things. What was the other one?
Four Things.
Stupid iPhone. Oh, we watched softcore porn.
Sweet.
Beach Babes from Beyond.
Hell yeah.
Which.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A slight deviation from your usual watching habits.
It was on, I forget what streaming it was on. One of those weird, like, free ones. Now, like going deeper than, like, Tubi or Crackle.
Right.
Like Freevee or something like that, maybe.
Freevee's one.
Freevee shows like fucking like titty movies. I didn't know that.
Maybe it wasn't Freevee. I don't know, but this one was full on, right off the bat, tits.
Hell yeah.
Bush, like it was everything.
Hell
like simulated sex. Well, I guess simulated, maybe not.
Yeah.
But it was fucking wild. The story is terrible.
It was ludicrous.
I remember when
I was a wee lad. You guys remember that Blockbuster like didn't rent porn, but they would rent shit like that. And I remember I used to rent fucking, I'll never forget the title, Return to Savage Beach. I rented that movie like 100 times. Very, very top-notch film. Highly recommend it.
So this movie, here's the 4 top listed actors. Joe Estevez.
Hell yeah.
Don Swayze.
Hell
Joe
yeah.
Estevez,
Joey Travolta and Burt Ward.
Wait. Robin is in the movie?
Yes. And the unfamous brothers of several famous actors.
Oh, that wasn't like fucking stage names?
Nope, they're legit their brothers.
Joe Estevez is a Sheen.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's an Estevez.
The Swayze guy, the Patrick Swayze's brother, he's in that episode of It's Always Sunny when they're like, we're the tasty treats. He's the guy on the boat that's like, we're going to go out into international waters and have some tasty treats. That's Patrick Swayze's brother.
Wow. And John Travolta's brother's in it too.
I had no idea John Travolta had brothers. That's hilarious. Like, that's fucking hysterical. It's like we got the fucking, it's not even the B team. We got the, like, Z team.
I mean, I guarantee this movie's still better than The Fanatic, which is a movie actual John Travolta was in.
That's a fair point, yeah.
What's the baseball movie? That's just a fan.
That was pretty good, actually.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. We watched it.
No, what's the movie?
You're thinking the Patton Oswalt.
Major League 2.
What is that movie called? Big Fan. That was good.
The Fan was De Niro and Snipes.
No, that movie sucked, and they lived in a weird pervert dimension too, where the locker rooms looked like The Crow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still had door-to-door knife sales.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie sucked. Anything else, Alec?
Nope.
Hopefully this continues a trend where you just watch weird, almost porn.
Porno. And
We did about a month and a half ago. Space Babes from Outer Space.
Oh, that's right. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, but that's like
Babes from Outer Space.
That's like Inception compared to this. Like,
wow.
Space Babes from Outer Space was like a full-on story.
Right.
In this movie, like, these three beach babes from beyond,
were they also from
borrow
space?
their dad's yes.
Oh, okay.
They borrow one of their dad's like space Corvette, but then they crash land on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And these 3 guys that are looking for chicks find them on the beach.
Hell yeah!
But then there's also a lingerie competition.
Every time I go to the beach.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Another one.
Yeah, it is something else.
Just prestige dramas and softcore pornography for how big movie.
That's right. Yeah, you went from like a best picture nod to that. Or
you gotta have
best picture winner. Excuse me.
You gotta have a balance.
You had like an Eddie Redmayne career in 1 week.
You gotta have some balance. Sean.
I didn't watch shit.
Damn. Hell yeah.
I watched most of one thing.
Okay.
Back to classic Cox. I watched most of one thing in the
Did you watch it on your refrigerator?
Yeah, I watched it.
You watched it in a reflection of a microwave at Sears.
Yeah, it was on a series of buses that passed by me earlier.
No, it's those weird like billboard cars you see driving around. Like, there's like a whole line of them.
I watched most of VHS 99, Shudder's original VHS 99.
That was a miss by Shudder.
It is as run of the mill as I guess that's an anthology sort of style.
Hey, you haven't seen any of those other ones?
No, I hadn't. I just dove in. There was one.
No,
you've seen the original.
You've seen at least one. Remember, I showed you that one segment. It's by the guy that made the Raid.
Yeah, and
it was about the cult. And then, like, they actually summon that fucking demon at the end. That's from VHS 2.
So I heard that there was, like, someone was talking about, maybe it was VHS. There's another one, like,
the one
86. There's someone that people actually hold in high regard, and I just picked the wrong one.
They're all bad. I mean, I think that one, from at least in my opinion, the one that segment that I showed you, and I can't remember the title of the short film,
Yes.
But that thing is so fucking good. And if you guys remember when we watched Apostle, remember I was like stoked before we watched, because I was like, that short was such a good horror movie. I can't wait till he makes a horror movie. And then fucking you want to talk about a Netflix movie that nobody talks about? Fucking Apostles.
That movie's a banger.
And that movie ruled.
So good. But anyway, sorry guys.
No, I mean, there's not much to talk about. VHS 99 sucks. Like, it's just like, it's
also like, what's the, like, I know with the one previous to that or possibly after it, the 84 one or whatever, like, I think that had like an 80s aesthetic to it, but what is it, like a 90s? Did it have like a 90s? It's a 90s aesthetic?
That like everybody was like Y2K'ing it up and like there was just 90s shit happening. Like it was just not good.
Cause like,
but it's still right. Like I guess 99 is still. There's still a little bit of time going on before you're getting into digital media, right? So you're not, VHSs are still prominent. So it's doing the same kind of bullshit where it's all the things, I guess, are found on this one tape.
Well, the worst thing about all those movies is the fucking wraparound. I always think, like, just get rid of those. Nobody needs that shit. The wraparound is always so lame. It's funny because I have the same problem with anthology books that have a wraparound. I'm looking at you, Chuck Palahniuk's Haunted. The wraparound is the worst part of that book. But the thing with like horror, and you know, it's funny, they made those, what the fuck was it? It was like Fear Street. Netflix made them. They made 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
you liked that, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And the thing is, they picked appropriate eras where it's like you can have like a horror style. Like if you did like VHS like 1970, you could do like Euro horror stuff. You could do like, you know, the early slasher kind of thing. 80s would definitely be like full on slasher stuff. But like, I don't know what identity 90s horror was like the
new metal.
Well, you could
do the new metal was the Attitude Era.
If you did new metal horror, that would kind of be brilliant. But like, then you're falling into like kind of what Psycho Goreman did, where like it like did that weird mid-90s thing, which I can't say enough good things about Psycho Goreman.
Well, we love Psycho Goreman.
It's another movie that I can't stop recommending to people.
Like, Psycho Goreman's not the problem here.
Psycho Goreman is probably the best movie Shudder's ever made, and I love most of their movies.
But VHS,
you know, I guess 90s ones would all be like
Scream.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, and
they're making a sequel to that again, by the way.
What I know what show they just made.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is Scream.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
they're also making a Scream.
Shout out to Anthony who said, "I bet the killer is the guy they killed in the beginning," and I said, "That's too fucking stupid."
Yeah,
he was 100% right.
I mean, like, those movies were always just like, you know, teen heartthrobs getting slashed up by mysterious stranger.
Yeah.
There's nothing supernatural.
Did it have any of that in there?
No, actually, it was mostly cult shit. Like, it was mostly like.
So what's the point of even like calling it? You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid. Like, if you're
like
not gonna.
So here's one of the little vignettes. There's a bunch of dorks that are like skateboarding all the time, doing 90s like mischief, and then a hot chick moves in across the street, and they witness her getting one of those. Remember one of those, like, Zoolander, it's in the computer, like, Apple, like, computers, right?
Yeah, iMac.
So she got...
Chris Parks had one.
Yeah, well, shout out to him. So she gets one of those delivered to her house, and they're like, okay, cool. And then she's like, they're watching his, like, the one guy's dorky brother is, like, rollerblading, because that's a 90s things to do, like, around the neighborhood, and she invites him in, and then she invites him to set up her webcam, so then they hack it using internet, which is brand new. To like spy on her, but then
you're doing it again.
They spy on her.
You're making it sound good. Like this sounds pretty good.
They spy on her. She turns into a full blown Medusa, and then attacks the house and turns them all into stone.
You know what, you son of a bitch. That sounded pretty good.
It wasn't.
They should hire you. Just I watch
a pitch.
Me and Alec watch a lot of TikTok. And there are occasionally you come across these TikToks that are disguised as they appear on first glance to be regular TikToks, but they are very clearly ads. And you would be so good at like, I saw this movie, guys, and like just do the synopsis, and like people are like, fuck, that movie sounds cool as shit, and then they watch it like, this movie
It is not.
Oh, I got me again.
But yeah, that's
Little Dick Gog 69 keeps giving me the worst movie recommendations.
but I keep going back to him.
I just like how he's out on Front Street about his little dick.
Yeah, just salute and small penis, and here's the movie. But anyway, that's
now I want to make a logo for Little Dick Gog 69. Just a penis with your beard.
Full chode. I got chode jeans. But no, that's I didn't even finish it, so I'm gonna probably dive into some other terrible horror movies.
Don't finish it.
There's so many ones with just fun, but there's like Death Spa. There's stuff with just fun looking
covers. You watched Death Spa before?
I've never watched Death Spa. No.
Oh, I thought
that sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
It's fun. Yeah, it's really bad, but
it's not as good as Chopping Mall, but it's like
what is?
Sean, isn't there another one that's very close to Death Spa?
Death Spa, I think, has 2 separate names also.
Oh, okay. It's one of those.
Yeah, that's it, TJ.
I watched one film and 2 TV shows I want to talk about briefly. The one film I watched was called Soft and Quiet. It's fucking awful.
Is that the 9/11 one?
No.
That's incredibly loud and something. Super close.
Super close and quiet. So Soft and Quiet is, and stop me if you heard this one, but it's another fucking horror TikTok recommendation. And man, oh man, those guys miss a lot. This is a movie.
Well, they think everything is great is the problem.
Yeah, they do.
Like every movie
Nintendo
is
Power
awesome.
Magazine.
This is what you're just trying to this is what you're just trying to pitch me on.
Yeah, but you'd be getting paid.
Yeah, but
for
I'm saying you'd be great at it because, like, I could give you this premise and you'd spit it back out and you'd make it. Even if you didn't like the movie, you still make it sound anyway.
Go ahead.
Soft and Quiet is a movie about a bunch of Nazi women who get pissed off at 2, I believe they're Asian American people for literally no reason, and then they torture and murder them. That's the entire movie. Now I love my wallow in the muck movies. Like we've established this. I love them, you know, but this movie has nothing going for it. Like
what era? What is it taking place during?
Current day.
Current Nazis.
So here's the problem too. Like right away, and it's weird because I didn't know, like, I don't know how to put this. I don't know if the writing was like really bad or if it's kind of like spot on because like the beginning, they're literally like, the one like the gimmick of this movie is that it's all in real time. The whole movie, it's an hour and a half, but everything that happens in real time. But anyway, so the beginning of the movie opens up and these women, the head Nazi chick, you don't know she's a Nazi at first, is like a substitute teacher. And she's like, I'm going to have this club meeting with my friends and blah, blah, blah. And they have this club meeting and she brings a pie and she opens up like the pie as like a cover.
You can't lose the talking pie. It's the heart of the picture.
The heart of the picture. By God, you did it again. Anyway, so she takes off the cover of the pie and there's a fucking swastika in the pie. So then you're like, oh, okay, like this is fucking weird. And then like there's a new person in the group and she's like, oh, this is fucked up. I shouldn't be here. But then they start talking and she gets kind of indoctrinated. But my problem is like right off the bat, like they don't sound like people. They just go through all the talking points. Now here's my kind of confliction in my head because I've listened to enough conservatives talk and that is all they go through. They go through the NPC, like, you know, chart of all the stupid talking points that they have. So, like, I don't know if it's clever satire against, like, right-wing people or it's just really bad writing. It's hard to discern from. But either way, like, there's really, like, nothing to this movie besides its, like, shock. And, like, it's interesting because, like, I feel like the messaging of this movie I like a lot because I hate fucking conservatives and white supremacists, obviously. But, like, there are subtle things within the storyline that I enjoy, like how these people, this group of women, create the entire problem. Like everything that they do is their fault, and they instigated the entire thing, but they're constantly like full of self-pity, and like they're blaming other people for shit that they did. Because literally what happens is they, after this meeting, they get kicked out of their meeting hall because, like, somebody's like, hey, you're doing Nazi shit. Get the fuck out of here. And they go to one of one of the women in the group owns a liquor store. And they go there and they start they get in an argument because they're acting like dickheads to these two Asian American people. And they get in their heads that they were wronged by them. So they're going to go prank their house, and the prank goes horribly wrong. And I don't know. But the thing is, like, again, the movie just has like nothing besides like shock. And it's just not enough for, like, it's just Nazi women doing terrible things. And then like them crying about doing the terrible thing. And then the movie's over. And it's like,
I actually almost like watched that movie. Just because I was.
How did you even come across it?
It was on.
It was on the Plex, isn't it?
It is on the Plex. Yeah.
No, I think it was on. It was either on HBO or it was on Shudder, maybe. And I saw and I just read the one line on it is just like a group of like elementary school teachers like have a mixer, and I'm like, what could that possibly be about?
Yeah. Oh, I did. I think I saw that exact description on. I think it was on Plex. I was looking yesterday or the day before for something to watch.
And I thought before, like, I kind of went into this pretty blind, and I thought, like, there was a story that happened a few years ago where, like, a group of teachers had a party, and then it was, like, I believe it was all white teachers, and then the one black person ended up dead the next day, and it became, I forget the name of the lady that died, but it became, like, a huge story, and it kind of, like, it seems real fucking suspicious. And I thought that's what this movie was about. I thought it was like Sean, what's the name of that fucking Altman movie that's like about the fucking column Elephant? Is that the name of that movie?
That's a Gus Van Sant movie.
Gus Van Sant, excuse me. But that movie is about Columbine, but it's not like called Columbine or whatever. Like, I thought that's what this
Right, they didn't want to pay the rights fees.
Right. And there was a movie that came out a few years ago that was about the fucking Aurora shooting, which I didn't watch, but I thought that's what this was about, but it wasn't. And I can't really recommend it. Like, I think everybody, like, I think the actors involved did all they could, but there's just there's no like meat to this movie. And like,
sizzle.
Well, I'm like, yeah, it's horrible, but like, I don't know, you don't gain anything from this movie. Like, you're at like, when you realize they're all Nazis, you're like, oh, fuck these people. And then by the time it's all over, you're like, oh, fuck these people. Like,
Does it try to make you sympathize with them?
Not at all. No.
Oh, okay.
No, if anything, it makes you just hate them more and more and more. Cause like the other, like, there's no real backstory to any of them besides the head Nazi lady, and you find out that her brother is like a rapist, and it's like, I don't know. It's
and killer of women.
Yeah. No.
It was Charles S. Dutton.
From the movie Alien 3, just to be clear.
Before we slander.
Jesus Christ.
Rock.
Yeah, well, he was a killer of man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was like backstory in Rock too, wasn't it?
Well, it's a backstory in his real life, isn't it?
No, Rocky was a garbage man.
Oh, did he really kill somebody in real life?
Yeah, I believe Charles S. Dutton actually murdered someone, or maybe manslaughtered them.
Nice. The Rock, not The Rock, but Rock, took place in Baltimore, Maryland. That show.
I think he's from Baltimore.
That's where the murders happen.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense. The other two things I watched briefly, both I really liked, other than Soft and Quiet, which I didn't like at all. I watched a show that all of y'all need to watch because I know y'all's sensibilities, and you're very much like me. You love that sort of dry, LEG-esque, fake mockumentary, Christopher Guest-esque kind of comedy. There's a show on Netflix called Kunk on Earth, and it's about this dumbass reporter that's trying to, like, there's like, what was the name of that documentary series with Neil deGrasse Tyson? It's called like Planet Earth or something, where they're like
Cosmos.
Yeah. But wasn't there one called Planet Earth too?
There was.
Probably.
There was. Yeah. But it was.
There's a planet called Earth.
But it's holy shit.
It's where you put your stuff.
It's where you keep your stuff.
One of my favorite lines from The Tick. He was driving around Galactus in a big golf cart. But no, so this show is about this fucking idiot. The reporter's name is Kunk. And she's like discussing these like huge, like, like the discovery of language, but like she's a fucking idiot, and she's interviewing like real fucking like experts and just telling her this.
Oh, it's like an Ollie G kind of deal.
Ollie G type thing, but saying like the dumbest fucking, like she says something like, So when written word was invented, was that something that was going to stick around, or was that just a flash in the pan like rap metal? And like the fucking like the experts just like doesn't know what to say, and it was like, well, no, it's we still use the written language. Okay, so nothing like rap metal, like it's shit like that. It's fucking hilarious. I watched the first 3 episodes. I think there's only like 5 episodes of it, but it is hilarious. Like the second episode is about religion, which is great. Like you gotta watch it. Kunk on Earth, not a great title, but very funny. I also watched the first 3 episodes of The Last of Us. It's incredible. I love it. They change enough where it's like, as someone that played both the games and like really loved both the games, I feel like I can watch it, and I'm still not exactly sure what they're going to do with it. The first episode is just the fucking game. The first episode is literally just the first couple hours of the game. But
is the third episode as good as everybody's going on about?
Yes. Okay. Because they took a character. Did you ever play the game, Sean?
I played the first one for a bit. I never got fully into it.
So the villain of the first game is kind of one note, and they fleshed him out. They did exactly what you should do in an adaptation where you have a lot more time, and you're not, going like level to level to kill things. Like they made him like a character instead of just like this villain that he was in the video games, and it's fucking excellent. And it's what's his name? Nick Offerman. And Nick Offerman's like a fantastic, like, dramatic actor on top of being a great comedic actor. But it's really good. The show's really good. Pablo Pascal is great. Bella Ramsey is like really good as Ellie. I love it. I think it's like right up there with like the best like HBO stuff. Like they're when they want to, man, they can crank out a quality product. Like it looks great. I feel like they get the tone perfectly. It's really good. It's frustrating to watch because then you're like, why was the Uncharted movie so bad? Like, why didn't you just hire all these people? Like, I know it's a different tone, but like they obviously like saw Last of Us and was like, oh, okay, we'll nail that tone. Like,
well, I mean, you get a lot more room to breathe in a series. Like an Uncharted series would probably be good, right?
Make an Uncharted series. It'd be great. Like, I mean, I'm sure it'd be way expensive, but like, I'm just saying that like tonally that
Uncharted their train budget would be insane.
Yeah, but I really, really like The Last of Us. I think even if you've never played the game, I think you'd really like it because I think the narrative is really strong. But
I was watching.
It's a really good show.
TJ might have seen it. It made me think of it when we were talking about Charles Dutton in Baltimore for a second. It was like a kind of exploration about how Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of fumbled their opportunity to make a social statement. And the lady's like, well, Bucky had spent enough time in Wakanda to know where Negroes congregate, so he goes to Baltimore to find Isaiah Bradley, and it just made me laugh really hard when she said it. Jesus. That's a show, and Al was talking about, where it's like, man, they just made the villains, like, sympathetic, and then it's like, let's just blow up a daycare, like, for what?
Yeah, I still like that show overall, but yeah, there was moments that they could have had a rewrite on a lot of that stuff. But
I'm excited for that HBO gritty Mario Kart show.
Yeah, that SNL thing was great.
It's a me.
What's his name? Kurt Russell's son is very good in the Winter Soldier show. Yeah, that kid's gonna be a good actor, or is a good actor, I should say.
I will go down swinging that weird Nazi movie he's in is really good.
You love that fucking movie.
I do.
Overlord? Is that the name?
Overlord. It shouldn't work, but I really enjoy the fuck out of it.
That fucking Wolfenstein expansion pack movie?
That's exactly what it is.
Let's be fair. It's a Call of Duty movie. It's like they couldn't get the rights to Call of Duty, and they're like, fuck it, let's do it.
We're do this Call of Duty bonus game. That's what
Wyatt Russell's also in a very good episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, one of the few good American episodes. But anyway, all right, it's that time. It's that because that's everybody,
it's
right? Everybody
time.
Gogs. I'm a little scared. Gogs. What happened?
What doesn't happen in Jupiter Ascending? Here we go.
Do the voice.
I can't do the Eddie Redmayne House of Granola or whatever the name of their company is.
You'd have to whisper half of everything.
These are whispers.
We open on Earth.
It's funny. I thought of Sean as I was watching this movie. I think of Sean a lot anyway, but I had the subtitles on because I literally my TV was up like full blast, but when Eddie Redmayne was on screen, I'm like, what the fuck is he saying? I had to turn the subtitles on because he just kind of mumbles.
He's just a whisper dork.
Yeah, he's doing something.
He's doing
but the thing you're doing with your voice, Sean, it's true. Like he kind of like he's got like this like kind of rhythm.
He's like a theremin, but a person.
Dogs will appreciate this. I forget what like West Coast hip hop album it's on, but there's a skit where it's like, you shouldn't have done that, and it's like, well, I did, so get in the fucking van. That's the voice, and I don't know exactly how to describe it, but anyway.
So, anywho, the movie opens, I guess, and I forget what we learn about first. If it's about the House of Braxix, or it's just about the fact that Jupiter Jones was born of.
Braxix is a play on that Jesse Ventura word. What was that movie that we watched? Abraxas?
Abraxas?
I don't know.
It's the same word.
Is it the same word? I thought they changed it slightly.
This is ABRA Abrasax. Abrasax? I don't care.
Wacky Sax.
That was
because it definitely has an X in it because I had the subtitles on too.
Jesse Ventura shows up half naked in a little boy's room in that movie.
I don't know what was going on, but so now anyway, so Jupiter Jones is born of a Russian lady dork and an English space dork.
Russian lady dork.
And they get together and they have Jupiter, and then but while they're getting ready to have Jupiter, I guess the KGB comes in and does a little neck stomping on everybody and takes his
unclear.
science tube.
Did anybody else feel like you missed something as to why you're getting
the entire movie
rated?
is like, did I miss something? Because the entire movie, everybody's like perfectly okay. Like later in the film, when that 70s show quotes like, I don't know, part subsection C of the royal code of like how you're not supposed to kidnap me. Like she just learned this shit 15 minutes ago.
I assume somebody fed her that line, but go ahead.
All right. So anywho, the KGB,
they get like raided for some reason.
Right. Like the bad guys from Hawkeye show up and they fucking take the science tube and all their stuff. And since the space dork loves Jupiter so much,
a telescope.
That's correct.
Thank you, Sean. I legit didn't know what he meant by that.
They gut check Dad with a 45, and then that sends Jupiter's mom onto a steamship to go to America by the 1940s. So then
she's like Fievel.
Yes, then she's born on
the Fievel.
Shout out to Fievel. She's born under a pale moon to her aunt who might be a witch, and now they wash toilets in New York? No, Chicago. So now she's in Chicago cleaning bathrooms, and she hates her life. She says as much to the screen, and that's all well and good until you find out about a little internal feuding in House of Braxix between Balim and Steve and Kalik, and they're all upset about their inheritance because they need to reapeth the goo from inhabited planets where they seeded humans millennia ago. Because this whole movie is about an essential oils company that somehow runs the galaxy.
They're like kind of like space vampires because they have to live off like they feeding off this living energy perpetuates their life like indefinitely.
Well, not just their life; they sell it to everyone else. Because what's his name? Ed Stark says that he can't afford his daughter's treatments to get like rejuvenated.
Can we talk about the Wachowskis' weird obsession with explaining why vampires exist in all of their movies? This is at least the second time this has come up.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right, because they had him in the Matrix 2, right?
Yeah.
They probably were Speed Racer, but we just didn't see them.
Also, speaking of it, I texted this in the group thing. Like, this movie is concerned with explaining real life plot holes, like what happened to the dinosaurs. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I get it.
They got repeninged. So now Mila Kunis is off doing her thing, and she wishes for a greater life beyond the stars. And the stars are like, hey, we're going to turn that planet into goo eventually. And simultaneously, somehow her cousin convinces her to sell her eggs, but give him 60% of the cut for reasons I don't understand.
Yeah, well, the reason is, and I think this is like meant to be obvious, the original Matrix movies are movies about, in some regard, how they feel about capitalism. This movie is much more expressly so. And the cousin even says, hey, that's capitalism. Shit rolls uphill, profits roll down, or whatever, however he clumsily phrases it. But
I mean, that is a thing, but there is no vector in which his involvement is required.
He's the idea man.
Yeah.
You know what? Good on him if he sold it for 60% of her eggs. So anyway, she goes.
She wants that telescope, both.
Right. So she cleans the toilet of this one broad who's rich and fancy. And she's trying to, like, nail herself a fancy bow, but she's using that name at the egg spot. So when they do the DNA testing, because all DNA testing gets broadcast out to the realms of space, all of the rest of the universe finds out that she's been the recombinated, well, because all the planets have been seeded by the same humans. So every once in a while, all the genes come back into a line, and that's effectively reincarnation. So she is the reborn cellular entity of the mother of the queen of the essential oils company. And because now she is part of Earth, that screws up Eddie Redmayne's claim to Earth in his Warhammer 40 gay castle in the center of Jupiter, because he wants to reap in the earth because it's the most useful place for juice.
I'm sorry, did you say Warhammer 40 gay? Because I laughed at that. Okay.
So now you get introduced to the various mutants. So there's so you got Titus and Calic, are like the brother and sister who are not Balim.
Calic, by the way, and I feel like this is almost like, did anybody else think Calic looked a lot like Carrie Fisher? I thought she looked really. She
looked very familiar, but I couldn't place her.
I thought she looked so much like Carrie Fisher in this. I was like, I wonder if they did that on purpose.
No, I did not. I thought she looked like that blonde girl, Anna Camp.
Oh, I could see that.
Who's Anna Camp? I don't know. Familiar.
She's from the Pitch Perfect movies.
Oh, yeah.
And other stuff.
She wasn't in X, was she? Or is that the other one?
No, I don't think so.
One of the lead in X, the one's on the cover, she was also in Pitch Perfect. Anyway, so now, so Mila Kunis is a goddess of corporations reborn. So Titus has sent a wolfman by the name of what's his name?
Kane Wise.
Kane Wise and his jack of all trades, Jet Set Radio grind boots go to
they fucking
United
love these
States.
Boots. These boots are like
do everything though.
These boots are awesome.
What can't these boots do?
The boots though, like I feel like the boots are like a central part of every scene that they're in. It's
every scene is boot focused. Like they burn through cuffs. They save you from everything. So anyway, he goes up and he's got his shield and his whatever. And then there's a lady with hair on a space bike. And there's another guy.
Lady with hair.
And then there's another one. And they're all trying to get her. But then he Wolfmans it out and beats their dicks off. And now he has saved her. And he takes her to now Chicago is destroyed in the process because other people show up, more science jerks in spacecrafts.
And those aliens. What do they call the aliens? The
grabbers?
The grabbers.
Something like that.
Guys, I don't think you mentioned that the Keepers, like, this movie is hilarious because it has, like, some really
Grays in it.
It has some really great, like, designs, and then just like, whatever. Like, the grabbers they look like Greys, they look like Greyons, but then, like, the hunters just look like big dragon lizard men. And it's
there's
like,
gargoyles and there's all sorts of shit. And like
they just like got like a Unity flip. They're like, whatever. Like, just like throw this shit in there, I guess.
Did anybody spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out how those dragon men put those jackets on?
Yeah. But they had like multiple jackets too. They had, like,
they also, the drip.
One thing I did like about the lore of this movie is that
there's so much of it.
Well, main villains are all humans. They're like they're like highly evolved humans. So I thought that was kind of that's like Dune-esque in a weird way.
The whole place is thick with humans, and they're like just looking down on like the primitive humans of Earth. So like Cain Wise is half wolf, all boot, and he's saved Mila Kunis.
He's also half albino. However, that happens.
And he's been de-winged from being part of the Legion.
In addition to being a Wolfman special ops guy, he's also possibly an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So then they go see his other angel friend, Ned Stark, and that's where you find out that Mila Kunis is the queen of the bees, because bees recognize royalty. Game recognize game, I suppose.
Yeah, so bees, for some reason, bees recognize royalty.
Well, it's not like
bees,
not that
bees
hard.
always
they have a hive and
queen.
A queen structure. Yeah,
and you guys don't get a lot, do you?
We don't get much.
No, I don't get why.
To enjoy this movie, I'll put it. You have to have like an a priori understanding that this plot is stupid.
Fair enough.
Like you just have to deal with it. Like otherwise, you're going to be like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
So Cain is hired by Titus, and Titus jacks her into space. Yeah, but before that happens,
get ready to kiss your son.
The Aegis, whatever. Basically, like the internet, like the intergalactic space bureaucrats get to have their time to shine.
The police,
where she gets not just the police, because she gets tattooed and gets all her paperwork.
Specifically, the police.
Well, fine, but they go back to they go to the space DMV. And they run her around and they try and get all of her paperwork in order with a guy whose face is floating off his face. And
this is the scene that was directed by Terry Gilliam.
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
No, I get it. And then so she gets through all that and she sort of figures out what the international space laws are. But now Titus wants to marry his mom so that she can get whacked off and then he can get the claim to Earth because Balam wouldn't accept his trade him up. He tried to do when I used to get scammed in elementary school for giving away my good baseball cards because I didn't know shit about fuck. And people were like, oh, I'll give you this for that. And then I'd lose a Daryl Strawberry. He was trying to pull that on Balam, but Balam whispered his way through that deal and said, no, thank you. Meanwhile, I find out about Kayleek in the goop. Because she gets old and young.
If you sort of mentioned it, but like it isn't the way you phrase it was like a little curious. It like she is the genetic reincarnation of their mother, the three siblings. Like
that is correct.
Yeah. So
the queen of the Essential Oils Company.
Right. This scene is him offering to marry his mother.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, and they're gonna have like modern day weird porn situations
also, Titus, right? Titus is introduced in a PG-13 movie by literally having like a floating space orgy.
Oh yeah, he's in like a sex cyclone, like in the middle, and then like he has like
much respect for that.
And like his like human pan hybrid comes in and is like, oh, by the way, we found her. He's like, excellent, and he just jizzes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that human pan hybrid's really hot. Is that Kerry Washington? I think it's very hot. I don't know.
But then Cain gets double-crossed. He gets jacked out a window. I don't know. Ned Stark fucking did some shit. But then he, like, triple-crosses everybody. And he's like, let's come back after it. So then Titus sets up a Clone Wars wedding where all the clones just need to witness the wedding while they're getting their, like, they're having a very East Baltimore tattoo ceremony to make sure their nuptials are permanent. And then Kane, no, wait, I missed a whole part because Kane gets jacked into space, and somehow he gets a suit gooped on him. But then
he kicks the suit out of the wall as he's going, like,
right, and his space boots blaze off his cuffs. Then he puts the suit on, and then Ned Stark and them find him, and then they chase him. And then there's this weird defense matrix where I guess there's no laws for this Essential Oils company because they just throw up a wall of space mines or space invaders or something in front of. Well, like so Ned Stark and C-Tates get into like Gundams and fly at this like space church to interrupt the space wedding.
It's they're less Gundams and more the weird sort of Robotech mechs that they had in Nier Automata. If you ever played that game,
that's what I was going to ask you. What is it? Because there's that wing design is like very specific.
Yeah,
that, like mechanical, like feather type thing.
In the very beginning of Nier Automata, you're in this. It's a shmup at first, and then like you turn into these robots. It looked almost exactly the same. I don't know that. I feel like Nier came out after that, but
yeah.
So they interrupt the space wedding, but then now what happens? Balam somehow gets a hold of Mila Kunis.
Well, he gets her family, like...
That's right. He kidnaps her family because she wants to go back to Earth. But now all of the Russian immigrants are going to get turned into puddles unless she signs over Earth to Balam. And she's like, all right, I'll do it for love or whatever. And I guess from a storytelling perspective, like Mila Kunis's like strong female character is very emotionally intelligent and isn't a big punch-a-douche. Like she's very big on just talking things through and being reasonable. So I guess that's sort of a plus.
But she's just a janitor as far as she knows. So yeah,
right. But like she's not like she doesn't like rise to the occasion of being like some sort of action badass. She's just using her heart the entire time, which I think is part of what they were trying to go for.
And her intense horniness.
Yes.
Oh my God, is she horny?
Oh my God, so she's instantly horny for this wolf person.
We'll get into it later, but yeah, it's one of the parts of the movie I have the most problem. Like,
but
it's
to
like
be fair, I was instantly horny for the wolf person.
The like romance they try to push into this movie just doesn't work.
It is phenomenally unearned.
Well, he is Channing Tatum, but like the funniest part is that like he says to her directly, like, I have more in common with an actual dog than a human, and she's like, I don't fucking care.
No.
I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
Yeah. I love dogs.
There you go.
And then he leaves, and she says it to nobody.
Yeah.
She says it to us.
So she lets the audience know she's horny for dogs. So now Eddie Redmayne is taking her back to his science castle under all the hurricanes of Jupiter.
Oh, he lives in hell.
Yeah, he lives in fucking Mustafar or whatever.
Yeah, like so. He's over in East St. Louis, and the rest of the I don't know, space police can't break through the walls of hurricanes that are made of Jupiter. So then something happens, and the containment fields breach or something, and now all the juice is loose and the place is exploding and people are evacuating. So Channing Tatum, like, he skiffles his way in on his space boots and like saves her with portals, and Eddie Redmayne just plunges to the center of the earth like the Emperor, and now then C-Tates gets his wings back, and she's still a janitor, but she's also the queen of the earth. But miss me with that, because if you make me the queen of the earth, you best believe I'm not going to clean toilets no more. But now she has like a weird, intergalactic love affair with Channing Tatum and his flying dog ass. But everyone can be made to forget because of a planet-wide Men in Black gun.
Yeah, they have the planet-wide.
Also, they can just rebuild entire cities because, like, when they're driving away, like the whole city just gets reconstructed. Like, shit's wild.
Yeah, and they write that off with like, well,
it's good to be the queen of space.
It is.
I love how they write off the Men in Black thing. They're like, well, some people will remember, but nobody believes them. It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Futurama where they let the one reporter come to Area 51, but everything he shoots is out of focus and off center.
Right.
So this is like, I wrote down some notes. I used some of them already. Here's one. This whole movie is an intergalactic bureaucratic procedural with an impenetrable set of rules that all of the characters simultaneously both completely understand and yet have no reaction to the consequences of their actions.
This movie did remind me of that joke that from later Simpsons that we always talk about, where they're making fun of the Phantom Menace and like it's actually where we get tabled from.
Yeah.
Like they break into the Senate meeting and it's like it's an ATST that's like, I'd like to make an amendment to the like that. I so much about procedural
I'm
shit.
on an island with this and I'm fine with that, but like I enjoy all the like space bureaucracy nonsense in this because they just fucking lean into it. Like there is no like pretense that this movie is not a movie about weird fucking like estate taxes, entitlement reforms and shit.
It's just so like it's
weird.
It's fucking weird. It's a weird thing to like hinge your fucking script on. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
but like, as much as I hated the Phantom Menace for doing it, like this movie does it even. Like if you told me that the Wachowskis were making a parody of the Phantom Menace, I'd be like, oh, okay, I get that, but I don't think that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's
Gogs, what are your other notes?
I bet Sean Bean regrets surviving in this film. More like
I do like that his daughter gets AIDS apparently because he just goes, she got the bug, not explained or elaborated on.
But she couldn't get dipped, so that's why he did what he did.
Oh boy.
Let's see. What else I got here? This movie feels like there's 20 hours of footage on the floor of some editing room because what the actual fuck.
So, so this movie, right, is like a trilogy of movies where every act is its own movie. Like her discovering who she is and dealing with the sister who never comes back is one movie, and then the weird marriage section and the space DMV.
She had a sister?
No, the sister of the Abraxas Corporation.
Oh yeah,
she just doesn't ever show back. Kalik never just comes back.
Yeah. The marriage part with Titus is a movie unto itself, and then the final showdown in Hell is a movie unto itself. But because they only got funding for one movie, they said, fuck it, put it in, and they put all of it together. And it's we said it last week.
We said it last week, but I think initially this was a 1,200-page script.
Yeah.
That they pared down to like 250.
I mean, it feels like that, right? Because there's so much that just, like, you go from scene to scene, it's like everyone's got, like, all this other knowledge. Like, where did that come from? And I guess, like, show don't tell, but this is, like, show and don't even come close to being able to hammer out how.
But they do tell a lot. They, like, explain shit that doesn't need to be said.
But the stuff that you want to know what the hell's happening, that's just figured out,
I appreciate that the elephant face man is named Nesh. Like, I didn't notice that the first time I watched the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alec, what was your favorite part of this movie?
Please say the signs.
My favorite part was
I was setting him up for it. Come on, man. Like,
sorry, I liked all the tax talk.
Me too.
It is tax season.
This is the season,
It's tax season. Like, we'll be getting refunds soon, hopefully,
and Alex, you're good at math, so you know.
Yeah, and I like them talking about tax rates and all that kind of stuff, and bartering like planets.
Jupiter Ascending, sponsored by H&R Block.
I like when Mila Kunis drops the vial or like the thing and shatters it, and it was like
100 people.
400 people for that.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, don't worry about it. It's fine. She's like, oh, my God, she's losing her shit.
Yeah, she dropped all that slurm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This movie's awesome.
The vial of, like, 400 people. Like, well.
They just purified them, dehydrated them, rehydrated them.
Easy come, easy go. I appreciate
also in Futurama when the professor gets $300 and he uses it to buy stem cells to make himself look younger, and it's just he just starts rubbing them on his face.
I appreciate the Wachowskis for putting a bare naked ass and an orgy scene in a PG-13 movie. Also, the sister is very attractive and great ass, as Al Pacino would say. Apparently, she's in like a bunch of Wachowski stuff. She's in that Netflix show that nobody watched.
Sense8.
Sense8, yeah. Which a bunch of comic book nerd friends of mine said was good, and I was like, nope, I'm not watching that. There's the same people that watched a lot of CW shows, and I'm like, ass.
Gent.
I ain't watching it. That's the same people that told me to watch Green Arrow. I watched 2 seasons of that. I was like, oh no.
Green Arrow sucked.
It was so bad.
Even
2 seasons.
Even the Flash was better than that for a little bit.
Well, you and me watched The Flash. We watched the first episode, I think, together. We're like, this is pretty good. And then we watched and it was like,
Yeah. That Arrowverse is trash.
And then I remember, like, you probably saw this too, Alec, on TikTok. People were like, why doesn't the DC, the movies, just do this? And they should, I guess they did Crisis on Infinite Earths in the Arrowverse, and it looked like fucking dog shit. It's like, yeah, I wonder why they're not doing it.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. Anyway. I agree. I hear what Sean's saying about to appreciate this movie, you gotta just turn your brain off to this god-awful story, but like, I can't. I don't know. It's like, I appreciate how ridiculous it is, but like, I mean,
it's not any more stupid than like a Star Wars. Like,
no, it's ambitious.
I mean, it kind of is though. Like,
in what way?
I mean, it's as stupid as the prequels.
Well, yeah, but I hate the prequels.
Yeah,
so that's a bad example. I don't know. I don't feel like A New Hope and Empire are stupid like this. Like, they don't, it's more like about just like, and it's also faster. Like, it just kind of moves. It doesn't,
I don't know
it doesn't like get bogged down by the minutia of all this like nonsense, like explaining why bees.
Well, no,
like if you're a devil's advocate though.
Random farm boy is a son of famous space wizard, has hereditary magic powers, an old man who just by happenstance happens to be exiled down the street from him, and like, you know, when that first movie came out, there wasn't that whole like, he's there to protect him or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty dumb. Like, it's a story I understand. It's just simpler.
Yeah, but again, like, New Hope doesn't like, it just moves. It's just it doesn't sit around and talk about all this. That's the biggest problem with this movie is just they can't stop fucking talking about everything. Like, they just, like, I think it would be better for me if they didn't have, like, every other scene is all this exposition about, like, this and that, and it's like, all right, like, I don't care. Like,
oh man, I love that shit. I love the fucking, like, the English words that they use that they make really hard to say, like engineering or whatever. Yeah, like, they could just say gene engineering. It's some kind of fucking weirdo, like, version of it.
Also, for me, like, any time spent on Earth in this movie is just like, get me the fuck off Earth. Like, I don't want to be on Earth. Like, I hated all the beginning of this movie. It was like, why am I not in space? Like, why are we doing something cool? And like guys we
are doing something cool, TJ. We're setting up the story.
I guess. Are you though?
Yeah.
I will agree.
You can't have space taxation without Earth representation.
That was a good one. I will disagree with Gogs because he sounds like he's like dogging on Ballad, whatever his name is. His whole get up. His base, like Apocalypse or wherever the fuck he lives, looked awesome. Like, I love that. I thought that shit looked cool as hell. All the space stuff I loved. I didn't like the aliens. Like I said, I felt like the aliens were like hit or miss.
I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of the fucking, like, the dragon Nazis. Like, I thought they looked cool.
I thought they looked kind of tacky. I don't know, but I liked all the designs. Like, I thought the ship designs were interesting too. Like, ship design's tough in science fiction because we've seen so many. But I thought the ships looked cool. I liked all the, I liked the fighters and all the other stuff. Like, that stuff was great, but God, when they start talking, my eyes like glaze over, and I'm just like, I don't care. I hated the boots. I'm sorry, I hated the fucking boots. The boots were fucking stupid. I hated the boots.
I would have thought you would have really enjoyed that Terry Gilliam scene, just like,
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, like, but again, like, that scene is wrapped up in all the fucking bureaucracy that I hated in the rest. Like, I don't want all that. Like, visually.
But it's not like Brazil fun, right?
Well,
like,
visually, it looked great. Like, and I love the design of that robot that Gogs was making fun of with, like, the half a face. Like, that was a cool design quirk. And that actor I thought was fun. Like, there's a little fun exchange where he runs into, like, another model of him or whatever.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that, but, like, that whole scene was like the plot of, we lost Sean. Well, anyway, I'm sure he'll come back. But that whole plot for me was just tedious because it's just like, well, you didn't bring your driver's license, so we need to get your Gorbelglops like registered under like Hebelglobel code 9. And like, okay, like I it felt like a 2-minute joke that went on for 10 minutes. I was like, all right, like let's move on. Maybe Sean, come back, Sean. Maybe they lost the internet. Maybe DeSantis took away Sean's internet because he's half brown.
He's going to stop teaching CRT at his work.
Oh, damn. Sean's always teaching CRT. That son of a bitch. Anyway.
The sister, Baron and, what's the other one's name?
Balam and Kalek.
Kalek.
Titus.
Kalek. She was in, I was just looking up her IMDb. She was in Possessor. You guys probably recognize her from that.
She was in Possessor? I don't recognize her from Possessor, but I'll have to rewatch it. I don't remember her in that.
Tuppence Middleton.
She's very
it's a hell of a name.
Tuppence. Yeah.
Tuppence.
Beautiful lady. And yeah, I never watched any. I think she was in one other Wachowski thing, but yeah, I don't know. Let me text Sean. You guys keep talking. Alec, we always overpower you when we won't shut the fuck up. The floor is yours.
I thought this movie looked like the design of everything I thought was incredible. I loved it all. I loved the ships. I loved the character designs. I loved Channing Tatum's wolfism or whatever.
What did they call him? A lichen something.
Lichen something or yeah.
Yeah. I love that his name is Kane Wise.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Sean Bean is Stinger Apini. Like, come on. Like, the names are great.
Now, what was Stinger? What was Sean Bean? Why was he assigned to Earth?
I think they
was
said.
He exiled?
I thought they said he was exiled there for some reason.
Yeah, no, wasn't it because it was tied to Channing Tatum, right? Like Channing Tatum, like bit an elevated or whatever they said, and I think Sean Bean was his like commander or something, and they both got exiled because of it. Like Sean Bean didn't sell Channing Tatum down the river, something like that.
I don't know. There's too much plot to remember everything.
There really is too much plot.
It's thick with it.
It's got a lot of plot. It's got a lot of plot.
It does. I
hope Sean's okay. I texted him. He hasn't texted back.
He might not realize he's disconnected. He's just talking to nobody.
That would be funny.
Guys? Gogs, if we replaced one character in this movie with Dave Bautista, would it have made it better?
If Eddie Redmayne was Dave Bautista, then this movie is a triumph. As long as he's wearing tiny glasses and fun robes.
Like, yeah, I mean, replace Jupiter Jones with Dave Bautista.
Yeah, actually, and then the romance between him and Kane Wise. I'm here for that. I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to put it out there.
You're going to keep it 100.
Channing Tatum is bringing his A game in this movie. Like, he's legitimately trying. He's the only person in this movie that I thought was really acting.
Really?
I did.
Like, I thought it wasn't good, but Eddie Redmayne was acting his ass off.
Eddie Redmayne was, I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing something. He was trying.
He was giving it 1,000,000%.
1,000%, yeah.
Like, you cannot say that he was not giving effort into his role.
Now, I don't know if it was, like, I don't know if the effort paid off, but yeah, he was doing something.
He was doing something, but whatever. I thought, Channing Tatum was like, oh, he's kind of like, for being like a flying, skateboarding wolfman, he's kind of nuanced and subtle and fun. I liked it.
Yeah,
I like the scene after they found out that Stinger had sold him up the river. And Channing needs help, so he goes to basically break him out of jail. And he's like, "Why'd you do it?" And he's talking about his daughter and stuff, and he's just like, "Well, do you owe anybody any money? Any other sick relatives? Anything else?" He's like, "No." It's like, "All right, come on,
we're back.
We need you. Come on."
Yeah, he reminded me of what's his name in Crystal Skull. What was the name of the guy that kept fucking turning on him? Ray Winstone's character. Where he's like, he double crossed him like 3 times in that movie, and it was just like they kept bringing him back. I was like, oh gosh. Anyway, I feel like it's 5 Knuckle Shuffle time, but I was kind of hoping Sean would pop back on. I hope he's alright.
Yeah, I wonder if we lost internet or something.
It's kind of weird. I texted him, but I don't know. What do y'all think? We should continue, right?
Yeah, let's just soldier on.
All right.
Do what Sean would want us to do.
I mean, Sean's giving this a 10, so if he doesn't, I'd be shocked. He's probably giving it a 9. I don't think he'd give it a 10. Maybe he'd give it a 10. I don't know. He's been crowing about this movie for years. But anyway, let's do 5 Knuckle Shuffle time. Hopefully Sean will join us before we stop recording. Alec, Birthday Boy.
It's like a 9. I loved it. I thought it was great. I've seen it before. I knew what I was getting into.
See, I didn't know if you'd seen it before or not. I forgot if we had talked about it. I know we talked about it, but I couldn't remember if you'd seen it or not.
Yeah, I knew what I was getting myself and getting everybody into. I'm surprised at Gog's take. I thought this would have been like the beautiful,
not mine, because I'm a cynical dickhead.
The beautiful, crazy mess that Gogs would love. And forgive because everybody's giving it like 1,000,000%. So I'm kind of surprised. But I really think it's a mess, but it's a fun mess. It's like the best kind of mess. It's not like a mess like the second and third Matrix movies where it's just like a boring
or the last Matrix movie.
I never saw that one. But a boring, no color, no excitement. There's shit going on in this movie. You might not know what it is, and they might not know what it is, but there's shit happening everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can't give it a 10, but I really enjoy this movie. And it's something I'll probably watch again at some point. Maybe in 10 years it'll be my birthday pick again.
Oh, there he is. You okay, buddy?
Back.
Oh, now he's muted. Sean. Alec gives it a 9. Thank you, Alec. Sorry, I just concerned about Sean's safety and well-being.
And he has to know our scores at all times.
Yes. Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Hey, you okay?
Yeah, my phone decided it really needed to do a software update right in the middle of that conversation.
Oh, that's
nice.
So we were worried about you. We're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't miss much. We're into 5 Knuckle Shuffles. Alex just gave it a 9. Sean, what are you giving this movie?
Oh, I'm giving it an 8.
Oh, wow, I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
What'd you think?
First I said you were going to give it a 10, but then I was like, nah, you're not going to give it a 10. You're probably give it a 9. So you give it an 8.
Yeah, I recognize that it has problems, but I fucking love this movie, man. And I love it because it's weird. And they're really going for it. And they're like, we have several visions for this movie, and we're going to do all of them. And I know, TJ's famous a hat on a hat. This movie is just a stack of hats. It's
and to be fair, Sean, hat on a hat, I really stole from you. You say it more than anybody. So yeah, it's not me. I just like it a lot. I use it all the time.
But it's fucking it somehow has no substance, but it's perfect in just how goofy it is.
No substance.
There's nothing there. It's literally just Cinderella, but with a dragon that fights and you have to go to hell and rollerblades and we're doing everything. it just feels like it's like, okay, they're never gonna let us make another movie, so we better just do everything we got. Like, they're definitely getting their shit in. Yeah, and after watching so many, and I don't want to, just bash fucking contemporary movies all the time because that's boring. But after watching so many formulaic kind of big blockbuster comic book movies lately, this isn't that. Everybody's doing something.
Or even their own movies. I mean, that last Matrix movie was fucking horrible. But
everybody's very earnest in it. I think everybody's trying really hard, and I'm very entertained. And I think the production design, when it's not super flat and doesn't look like a fucking Neil Breen movie, there's that one bounty hunter that just has some shit on his head.
Yes.
But that wedding, I think, is a really visually interesting fucking design. I don't know, man. I like this movie a lot, and I used to just like it kind of ironically, but I genuinely enjoy watching this movie. So, sometimes it's just fun. Yeah. Just fun to be just a movie, just a simple-ass, confusing movie about space taxes and bees and injunctions and fucking selling your eggs and the Russian mob ? And, I don't fucking know, man. I have what I used to consider undue affection for this movie, but now I just have genuine affection because it's fun, and sometimes, I'd rather just be fun and goofy than, this fucking melodramatic fucking slog that you've seen 2 million times. So, Gogs.
So, what are you, Eddie Redmayne? Eddie Redmayne. One of the things I wrote that I didn't get to use was Puppeter descending. I tried. I was maybe this will be fun. And for me, it didn't do it. It took me 2 sits.
Oh God, you watched this in 2 sittings?
Yeah, I had to. I tried. And I don't know. It's over the top. It's wacky. It's a big swing. It's ambitious, but none of it landed for me. And I think part of it is the fact that it was, whoever said it was 1,200 pages whittled down to probably 200 pages.
I mean, that's not just me talking shit. That's legit.
No,
that's true production notes.
No,
they had a plan to make this into a trilogy, and I think, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, this was post Cloud Atlas, right? I think
this is Cloud Atlas after this.
Oh,
they wrote this while they were making Cloud Atlas.
Oh. Okay. Because Cloud Atlas was a huge bomb that they...
I want to say for a while this was the most expensive independent movie ever made, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, because they, obviously they, The Matrix made a gazillion dollars. Even the sequels made a lot of money. But after that, they just kept making these really expensive bombs, and this was I think a studio was we'll give you money to make this one, but you're not gonna make 3 of these fucking things.
So
I just put in Jupiter Ascending director's cut into Amazon to see if there was one.
Yeah.
And it just pulls up Dune. It doesn't even say no, there isn't one. It's nope, here's Dune.
Oh,
just enjoyed Dune.
That's so funny.
I mean, there was a $210 million budget. Well, estimated between 176 and 210 is what they're saying. But yeah, it's just there's just so much, and it's too much for me to just
it's too much.
It's and you're right. There's a bunch of stuff that would normally seem to check a lot of boxes for me, just didn't do it. So I'm giving it a 4, but because it's ambitious and I like Channing Tatum, but I hate Eddie Redmayne. And the plot. So
this is a movie that we needed to watch together.
I agree.
This did not benefit from me sitting by myself in the basement.
I feel like we would have had a lot of fun watching this.
Oh, I think as a group, this would probably get a several point bounce.
This is a movie when you go to a buffet with somebody that doesn't care about your well-being, where you're I'm going to get mashed potatoes and fish and a quiche and a chocolate pudding and this, and it's bro, get one thing.
Yeah, it's a real grab bag, but it just felt like there's so much that doesn't get hammered out, and you're just jumping. It's like real missing. It's real missing, but real missing every other scene. Like, where did the rest of that plot come from?
You guys remember the PlayStation 2 game SmackDown?
The WWE game? Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You could create like a pump up thing, like a
yeah. I remember.
But you could also take that and just pull out random sections of the animation.
Right.
So it makes your guy look like something out of a horror movie, like walking towards the screen. And maybe that's kind of what they did with this. Like the script, they didn't choose what they took out. They're just like, well, let's take pages 200 to 220. Gone.
It's jarring.
I love the comparison.
It's the House on Haunted Hill approach.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that's it. That's it for the kid. This is I guess maybe their third best movie. I guess like it's The Matrix, and then it turns out I didn't give Speed Racer a 4. I gave it a 6. So it's this Speed Racer, it's The Matrix.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how's The Matrix not number 1?
This, the rest. I haven't seen
Bound.
I never saw Bound.
I remember really liking Bound. I need to go back and revisit.
Yeah, this is it. I'm surprised that Gods doesn't like this because, like I thought you shared our love for like incredibly stupid shit.
I do. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I mean, I don't like it. I don't love it either. So
it's like two.
Yeah, well, if it was in French, you would have liked it.
Probably.
Oh yeah, there was more ennui. But TJ, your thoughts?
Real quick, Alec mentioned Dune, and I just want to point this out real fast because I thought it was funny. So I was at this brewery yesterday, and they're an artisanal brewery, so they have clever names for all their beers. And they had one beer that was called the Spice Must Flow, and they had another beer that was called Rebel Base. And I went to the bar, and I was like, oh, like saw those two things. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You got a Dune themed beer. I got to get that. And the bartender's like, oh, we actually have 2. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, Rebel Base could be that also. I was like, and I didn't say anything. And I was like, that's Star Wars. Like Rebel Base is definitely Star Wars. But I wanted to be, I was kind of proud of myself that I've grown. I'm not that nerd that I've been like, actually, you're wrong.
You didn't actually though.
Yeah, no, I was just like, yep, yeah, okay. Because Star Wars is kind of a Dune ripoff, but anyway, I didn't even say. I was like, oh,
did you spit beer in their face?
No. And actually, the Spice Must Flow is delicious, by the way. Very good.
There was as long as we're plugging beers real quick, I had an oatmeal pie, like, those hand pie, those oatmeal cookie deals. Yeah. There was the Black Flag Brewery in Columbia had something like it was an oatmeal pie stout or whatever, and I was like, how could this possibly taste? It tasted phenomenal. It was like a breakfast beer. It tasted as advertised. Strong recommend.
I'll definitely drink that. Anyway, so this is probably the most shocking score. This is getting a 5 for me.
Wow,
weird.
It's not forgettable.
I disagree. Like I watched this before and I completely forgot about, like, I remembered her being like a B, and I remember Eddie Redmayne like yelling and shit, but like everything else just kind of went away. And I feel like in a week, like it's all going to go away. Like I didn't enjoy it, but I also like didn't hate it. And it didn't elicit like Gogs obviously had a lot like more passionate response to it than I did. Like, I just thought it was kind of boring. Like, I didn't, like, again, like we said in the show, I didn't like all of the gobbledygook. Like, I just didn't care for it. The movie's not without its positives. Like I said, I think I love the design. Like, I love a lot of the design work, but the story, it's like Sean said, the story is nothing. There's like nothing to this fucking story. But like, don't let them tell you that, because like they're just like, oh, and this and that, and this is why the dinosaurs went extinct, and this is why bees know who you are, and like it's just shit that's like, well, and this is why the aliens can fucking build fucking cities overnight, and like I don't care about any of that shit, but like the Wachowskis care about that. Like, I don't know, it's a very odd movie, and like I'd be fascinated to like watch if this even exists. I don't know. It probably does. But I'd love to watch like the director's commentary because I'd love to hear their thought process behind this screenplay. Because I bet that would be interesting. Because I think that as filmmakers, they're interesting because like they don't really process movies like normal people. Like the way they see story structure in and of itself is very interesting to me. It doesn't work, but it's kind of, I respect them for being their own people. Like they like, there's no studio notes in this fucking movie, right? Like they did completely what they wanted to do. And if there were notes, I would love to see them. Like if this is after being noted, God only knows what the hell the original was.
If there's a documentary about how this movie gets made, I'd watch the hell out of that.
Give me a fucking, what's the Freddy movie we always talk about? Never Sleep Again. Isn't that it?
Yeah, it's like 8 hours long.
Give me an 8-hour Wachowski documentary, because I bet it would be absolutely amazing to watch. Because I don't really, like, aside from little snippets here and there, and it's usually right when the movies come out, I've never really heard them talk about their philosophies in filmmaking, and I bet it would be fucking super interesting to listen to. Like, I would love to hear that. You know, I didn't see, I know that like The Matrix for a lot of people is like a big trans allegory. I didn't see any of that stuff in this, but I've seen plenty of YouTubes that say all their films are like super queer coded, but I don't know. This movie just didn't catch me. It didn't grab me in any way. I thought it was real dumb, and it just, again, it didn't elicit any real emotional response from me. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's just kind of there. I don't want to revisit it. And like I said, this is at least the second time I watched this. I want to say the first time I watched it, it was on a date, and the girl I was with wanted to leave, and I told her we weren't going to leave because I never leave a movie, and she was mad at me the rest of the date. But anyway, she's not around anymore, so who cares? But anyway, yeah. So yeah, 5 for me, dog. So that is Jupiter Ascending. Now, whose pick? It would go back to Palentine's Day, and whose pick is it next week? I have one. If you don't, it's between who went already? Sean went, right?
Sean went. I had Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the queue.
That's a really good one.
I haven't watched it in decades, and I want to see what it's like.
I really like that. I mean, mine's Tango and Cash, so.
I mean, I want to watch that too.
But I really want to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I think that'll be interesting to talk about too. Cause like, I feel like I haven't watched that movie in, I couldn't even tell you, since I was a little kid. I loved it when I was a little kid though. This is going to disgust Sean to his very core. This is what kind of fucking nerdy ass little kid I was. I loved that movie. Like, I was obsessed with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And then I found out it was based on a novel. And I don't know, how old were we when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out?
That book sucks, by the way.
Yeah. Well, imagine reading it when you're like 9. It was terrible. It was also like really graphic. Like it's it's written kind of like a Mickey Spillane novel.
Yeah, it's a noir thing.
Yeah. It was bad. It was really bad. And, but I read a whole fucking book when I was like a little ass kid, and I was like, this sucks. This isn't fun.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
And now I'm gay.
1988.
I was like, oh no. My dad burst in my room. Now you're gay. Oh shit. He's right. But anyway. All right, everybody. That's the show. Next week, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Is that might be on Disney Plus? I don't know.
I think Disney owns the rights to it, don't they?
Well, it does, but I think that's one of the movies they've kind of like acted like doesn't exist, if I remember correctly. If not, it'll be on the Plex.
Get in the Roger Rabbit habit. It is on Disney Plus.
Oh, sweet. Then I don't have to put it on anything. Everybody still has Disney Plus, right?
I don't.
Oh, fuck. I'll put it on the Plex then. Get Disney
Thank
Plus.
you.
You broke.
No.
All right, fair enough. Alec, you got anything to plug on your birthday?
No, just taxes.
Yeah,
Taxes.
I owe this year somehow, which is really alarming. I have no idea.
Well, why don't you just schedule an appointment with the pain monster? That was for Alec.
I love it. All right, everybody. Alec, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday,
if
Alec.
anybody wants to mail Alec birthday presents and birthday nudes, feel free. bullholeradio@gmail.com. I think that's still the
Yep, mail presents to his email.
Yep.
Send feet.
Send feet pics. He loves
No,
them.
just feet. Send feet.
Just feet.
Actual feet. Send your bones.
Any hawk will do.
Later, Bill.
All right, bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye, boys.